Welcome back to the Stormcast, everyone. This is the podcast where we talk all things TABC sports. My name is Ali Hochberg, and I'm here with my co-host Oren Glickman. Oren, how are you doing today?
Well, I thought we were just gonna have a recap episode once all the games this semester were over, but our very eager and talented and energetic producer insisted that we do a show tonight. So definitely a lot to dissect when it comes to the last week and a lot to preview in the next few days. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, so I guess we'll start off with some good news, starting us off, and then we'll get into a little bit not as good news. The good news is that TABC boys varsity basketball clinched a playoff spot with the JC losing and a win over Heschel. The bad news is that TABC lost to MTA, had kind of an embarrassing win over Heschel, and had an embarrassing loss against Hillel. Not a lot of positives to take out of those games. If I'm going to be we try to be positive on this podcast as much as possible. We love these teams. We love the players. Not the best performance from this team this year. Only one game left. I think they're pretty much playing not for much. Really, uh, really just playing for really just playing for seeding, but really not. I think it's nearly impossible for them to host a home game at this point. Or what have been your takeaways from these past three games? And with one game left, which we'll preview in the next episode against SAR post winter break, what should be the expectations going forward?
Yeah, so I think it goes to what Coach Oz has said throughout this season. It's really been an up and down year, and it's not too different than when these guys were in JV 2 years ago when they finished 5-5. Like the records are very similar, 7-6, 5-5. And Coach Oz stressed that all we just have to do is get to the playoffs. So it's kind of ironic through all the up and downs that we've had so far we still were able to manage to officially clinch a playoff spot before winter break, with the game to spare. So now, listen, I think at this point, you're not hosting a first round playoff game anymore. You're going on the road. And I think if you're the varsity basketball team, I think your preference is to, if the options are between MTA, Hillel, and SAR, I think you'd much rather play at MTA or SAR compared to going down to Deal to play Hillel. We talked about it on the show a lot, and I think there's some truth to it. The Pits win games, um, you would get a very strong roads. You would get more fans probably for the away team at MTA or SAR. Um, Shout out Zach Tuckman. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure you would get that same road support going all the way down to Hillel.
Most definitely. I can't see many kids going to Hillel. It's a brutal drive. And I know your sentiment, Oren, that it's hard to beat a team three times. It's even harder to beat a team four times. But if any team's going to do it, and any team's like dominant over a team, it's Hillel over TABC. Every single time they played each other, it gets worse and worse for TABC. First time, very close game. Second time,
Right.
pretty
Three,
close also.
4, 14.
Yeah. Just getting continuously getting worse and worse. So I'm not sure if that theory will hold up there, Oren. Your favorite theory. Can't beat a team three times or four times even. Um, so it's not looking. Meaning the past few games have not been great to to say the least. But
Do these
listen,
headlines show up for the viewers, by the way, or do we just see them?
I'm pretty sure the show for the viewers as well.
Okay, good.
Uh,
So they know why we smile.
exactly. We're not just laughing at nothing. Except for they will not get most of the bits though.
Mhm.
It's just Kessler messing with us.
That one will always get me.
um, Listen, the Shiva League is up for grabs. We've been saying this all year long. This team could be anyone. They've swept fresh. They beat SAR. They've beaten a lot of good teams. This team could beat anyone. They could play with all the best teams. It's just a matter of getting there and actually beating these teams. So they're in the playoffs now. Hope they get a good first round matchup, and we'll see them. And I guess we'll see how they play against SAR. Looking forward to that game. But
I,
moving on to
I
sorry,
think I think the
final.
take. By the way, not to interrupt, but I think you hit the nail on the head. I think the takeaway with this team is they can beat anyone, but they can also lose to anyone.
Sure, I was just trying to focus on the upside of that. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, in the playoffs, we're probably going to go in as underdogs to I think nearly any team that we face. Um, uh, um, we're really looking forward to those games, but they have no more games until break. We'll discuss the three teams that do have games until winter break, such as boys varsity hockey. Boys varsity hockey has I don't know why I keep on saying boys. I guess that's a product of me looking at MYHSAL, but whatever. They are playing tomorrow night as we speak. Hopefully, this episode will be out. Hosting Frisch, then hosting Hank in the Winter Classic, and then going to Ramaz right before winter break. I'm not right before basically right before the season ends. I mean, sorry, right before finals. I'm not formulating things well right now. I apologize. So 3 games in really 6 days right now. Let's see how they fare. Oren, what are your keys to these 3 games, and how could you see this team faring?
Yeah. So first off, I think that last graphic was a shout out to Marty Teitelbaum and Sammy Haberman. Um, so yeah. Um, you got to be in my class to get a lot of these bits. Um, Listen, I think we're all just hoping that tomorrow night's game is competitive. I think we all see ourselves as huge underdogs, and we don't know what tomorrow night's going to bring. At the same time, though, I've heard that it doesn't really, I mean, obviously, having opportunity to beat Frisch is always great in terms of, morale and boosting, optimism. But at the same time, it's my understanding that this game won't have a real impact on their seeding down the stretch if they're able to take care of business in their final 4 games, which they're expected to do. Um, Hank will obviously be a rematch. I think we're all still sour over that semifinal loss last year, so revenge will be on everybody's mind. It's my understanding though that we can't take Hank lightly. Uh, Hank took DRS to the brink in both times that they faced off this year, to my understanding. So you definitely can't take them lightly. And frankly, you can't take Ramaz lightly either. Ramaz gave us a good game by us, so I imagine it'll be a good game by them as well. Um, so I think everybody's saying like, yeah, okay, we're not gonna. Everybody's thinking we're not gonna win the first game, and then we're gonna go perfect, going 4 for 4 and go 9-5. Um, but I don't think you should expect anything. Listen, I think those Kushner MTA games to close out the season should be easy wins because we've already played them and we handled them pretty easily. But the Ramaz game by us, like I said, was a close game, and Hank should be a tough game too. So hopefully we have a big turnout for the Winter Classic that night for that game.
Exactly. I hope people don't just ditch after the Frisch game. I mean, this is a really massive game. It could really determine seeding. I mean, hopefully they put up a fight against Frisch tomorrow. Hope we get a good pit again. Pitt wins games. First game we did not have a good pit. I really hope we get a good pit tomorrow night. Motzei Shabbos, massive pit needed against Armaz. Again, going to be closer than people think. They have 2 games after winter break to close the season that should hopefully be 2 easier wins. But I think it would be a disaster. Sky is falling if we somehow are 5-7 or even 6-6 for that matter heading into the break. I think there would not be there would not be a positive outlook. 1600 Queen Anne, that made no sense. What am I saying? Nothing. Just ignore that last thing I just said. It would not be a good feeling. So, Oren, do you have any final thoughts about varsity hockey?
Um, I think I think it's very similar to varsity ball. Let's just get to the playoffs and then go from there. Um, hopefully the first game is not as bad as people are anticipating it to be, including members of our own team. Um, and listen, there's no question the first is in a class of their own right now, but we should take pride in the fact that we gave SAR and DRS some really tough games. So if we could take that as a momentum boost, um, if we can take that as a momentum boost into the first game, and then maybe we could have some bright spots against Frisch, even if we don't come out on top, because the Hank Ramaz games are going to be pretty crucial.
Exactly. Are you ready to move on to some JV hockey talk? Probably the hottest team in
Yeah, I would
TABC.
also say, by the way, varsity hockey, playoffs seem to be a lock at this point, but a a first round home playoff game is not a lock. So there's definitely still a lot to play for in that regard.
Most definitely, most definitely. So
Mhm.
we really hope we can get a good turnout, Motzei Shabbos. That's going to be really important. Moving on to boys JV hockey. Listen, TBC, there's not gonna be a big preview here. Only one game left on the season where they'll be going to SAR. Again, we spoke about last episode. There's really no clear title favorite. TBC is making a run for top title favorite heading into the postseason with a statement win over DRS. Not a statement win in terms of margin of
We
victory.
won at the greenhouse.
Exact. In terms of walking into the greenhouse, for the first time in my high school career, being able to walk into the greenhouse and win there. That is a statement in my mind. That is a statement I think in everyone's mind. The greenhouse is probably the hardest place to play. I don't care if they have fans there or not. It is a hard place to play. How many fans they have there is it's obviously relevant to me, but I think that's only a part of the problem there. It's an intimidating place to play. DRS is in a tier of their own in the Yeshiva League, at least recently. Being able to walk in there, Jack Solomon putting the team on his back to back weeks where I think we could all agree. I don't know if we all agree. I think this week every single person agrees that Jack Solomon is the player of the week. I don't think it's a doubt on the Stormcast chat where we had a vote. It wasn't even close. I think it was like 90-4. Like 4 people voted for like Ari Shohoff and Akiva Borgen. Like it wasn't even remotely close. And two truly incredible goals from Jack Solomon. We spoke about his incredible goal against Hafter, his heroics there. More heroics against the DRS to sweep the 5-town schools. If you want to talk a little bit about this DRS game, and then also TBC defeated Barkai 11-2. We expected this to be a W, but now TBC is clinched a bye in the first round and clinched a home game in the semifinals, which is obviously really, really big. So, Oren, if you want to talk about a little bit about that for a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I had the opportunity to be at the game on Saturday night. I'm glad it didn't get snowed out. Jack Solomon, he basically told the entire greenhouse, like, I'm going to have the last word on this game, you know? He had that wicked slap shot off the power play, and I think we all thought at that point, like, that could be the game-winning goal. Then DRS equalized a couple moments later, and Jack Solomon was still determined to have the final say in the game. And he did. You know, he deked out a defenseman, went 5-hole on the goaltender. It was just it was a masterclass of a performance. Probably the best individual performance I've seen from any TBC athlete this season.
Yeah, I'd put it up there. 2 goals and both like really incredible goals to propel this
Oh, you
team.
guys are forgetting Shaq Herstrick's performance against Frisch.
Yes,
Or did you hear what Kessler just said?
I heard that. I heard that.
Okay.
But yeah, JV Hockey, I think they are right now the team that everybody's paying close attention to, rightfully so. They're our only undefeated team left, and to already have a first round bye locked up, a top 2 seed before winter break is a lot to be proud of. And yeah, listen, they will being a top 2 seed guarantees them home court all the way up until the championship game. At the same time, though, I think you're still going all in on that last game of the season against SAR because you want to stay undefeated. And I think it still does make a difference between being the one or the well, I don't know. If you're the 1 or the 2, you're most likely still going to get a strong team in the next round because, in my opinion, this field is wide open between teams 1 to 5.
Yeah, we've spoken about this a little bit last episode.
Yeah,
my
Frisch,
opinion,
SAR, TABC, DRS, Hafter.
I think I would rather a Hafter or a DRS than a Frisch. I think that's just in my mindset. Knowing Hafter and DRS isn't going to show up in TNEC. I don't mean like the team. I mean like fans. We know rivalry games are always tighter than they should be.
Yeah.
I in my mindset, I would always rather a Hafter, or I'm not always, but in this scenario, a Hafter or a DRS, whoever that may be. Right now, Hafter's played one more game than them, but also, one more game. Yeah, one more game, but also it has 2 more points. So we'll see how that turns out, and they tied. So I'm not exactly sure how exactly that's going to work out, but TBC right now is 3 points ahead of SAR. SAR having to play TBC along with another game at Flatbush, which should be a win for them. So that game will basically be for the 1 seed, which again is a big game, but we'll preview a little more after winter break. Any other thoughts on JV hockey, Oren?
No, like you said, they had another game 2 nights later against Barkai, which officially cemented the first round bye and home court. You know, it's always a nice opportunity to get to see guys get more minutes, than they normally do for bigger games. Noam Adler, Boucher had 2 goals, Ozzy Mattel had 2 goals, Amital Sarna had 2 goals. So yeah, it was nice. It was a nice win last night. Not much of a pit obviously. Um, but I think that'll be JV hockey's last home game playing without a large pit because we know playoffs bring in pits.
Exactly, and if I have to encourage, I mean, just one last plug to people: show up to games, especially varsity games. There's probably not going to be home playoff varsity games, so definitely not for there's only one more home basketball game, but
Right.
for hockey, there's no guarantee, especially if we don't win at least one of these 2 games. There's zero guarantee we play a home game. So show up against Hinks, show up against Frisch. Although it's unlikely we'd be Frisch, show up. Besides just showing up to the pit, these games are at massive implications. Moving on to our final team, TBC unfortunately lost to Hillel.
It's actually true because last year our road to the finals was on the road, and 2 years ago we were
I
in the
mean,
playoffs.
I mean,
yeah,
you can count that as a home game because
yeah. By the way,
it was the
the way the
second
pit
biggest pit of the
fell,
year.
yeah, that pit
I
was
still think
electric.
last year that JV hockey semifinal game at Frisch was our best pit.
And you were
think
you were doubting it the whole way. People
I
showed
thought
up.
it was. I still hold to this day that it was a better pit than both the Yeshiva League championship game against DRS and the Sarachek final.
I think, and also I think everyone was shocked about that. Everyone like
We
both
didn't
schools,
expect to win.
both schools combined were shocked about that the pit actually showed up to an away game.
And also the way it just like started from beginning to end, Catler scoring 15 seconds in.
Yeah,
It
in
was
his
just
first game back.
yeah. No, in his first game, period, playing for TABC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True cinema. Probably one of the biggest impacts it had on the game, besides for that Ramaz game. Those 2 games probably the biggest impact Pitt had on the game. And that Ramaz game we felt in that comeback. And first game obviously propelling them to a win. But JV Ball unfortunately fell to ALL. The curse of Oren calling them, saying they're gonna waltz or whatever he said to the playoffs. Is
Shout
not
out Zach
exactly working.
Tuckman.
Shout out Zach Tuckman. And unfortunately, the road does not get any easier for TABC. Feels eerily similar to last year, where TBC started off 5-6-0 actually, and then finished 6-4, I believe, or 5, whatever, something like that. This
Yeah,
year,
listen, I think we have to acknowledge that this team is human after all.
yeah.
Um, but everybody knows how hard it is to win down there and deal.
Yeah, most definitely.
And basically you win your last 2 home games, you're still the 1 seed.
Yeah, I'm just even over Hillel. Is that true? Over
It's
Hillel?
true.
Hillel's,
Yeah.
oh yeah, because
Hillel's
Hillel
at 3
had 3
losses.
losses. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got confused. That Hillel 1 loss for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but these 2 games are not simple at all. First, Motzei Shabbos, we're gonna need a massive pit for that. That's a massive game, and then Hillel coming to TBC. Hopefully, we'll get a big pit for that also. But we see Hillel's very, very hard to take down. And by the way, just talking about the Hillel game, it was clear the team got off to a very slow start. I mean, the team looked sluggish out there at first. And listen, it's a hard drive down to Deal. It's hard to play in Deal. It's a long drive. And we'll see how they fare when they come to TBC. JV Ball will be done with the season by winter break. So, Oren, if you want to talk about a little bit about these next 2 games, how TBC can really beat these teams.
Yeah, I think I think the way they executed on Munoz in the second half of the game at Frisch, they should try to do that again in this game. I hate to sound like a broken record, but I still think it'll be, it'll go down to the stars, Ezra Adams and Joseph Munoz, and who outshines the other one. I definitely think playing at home will carry a little bit of extra momentum on TABC side. But Frisch is already locked up a bye, by the way. So they're already top 2, but they obviously want to be the 1. And the extra motivation to being the 1 seed is avoiding Mag and David on the other side.
Yeah,
and
Mag
not having to face them until the championship.
I mean, Magan absolutely crushed Flatbush, and Flatbush was undefeated going into that. That was brutal. I mean, Magan was 8-0. Flatbush. I mean, Magan was also undefeated, and Magan just beat them by 30. It wasn't even close. Magan hasn't played a close game all year. You really do want to avoid Magan on that side of the bracket. So really looking to be the 1 seed here. Hopefully they'll be able to beat Frisch, beat Hillel. We need big pits for both. I can't emphasize it enough.
Well, yeah, programming both those nights.
Programming both those nights. Oren, do you have any final points you want to make on the Stormcast? Wrestling, ice hockey, Any other sports? Curling? I don't know.
Yeah, like we said, to
Did you
sum it
just
all
say
up,
curling?
Yeah, do you know about the TABC curling club?
Someone's getting ready for the Winter Olympics.
like to say, like I said, to sum it all up, varsity basketball, it's kind of crazy all the up and downs that they've had, yet they've officially clinched a playoff spot before break. So look at the good. JV hockey is flying high right now. I think they're the envy of everybody right now. Varsity hockey, yeah, we'll see what kind of test they can put up tomorrow night, and then I think it's everybody's hope that afterwards they can go 4 for 4, and JV ball win those 2 home games. It's officially, you officially execute the reset, and you're back to being the top seed in the league.
Exactly. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching.
Oh yeah,
Respe-
wrestling. I'm sure we'll discuss wrestling more once we get to Wittenberg.
Yeah,
After
sure.
winter break, and ice hockey haven't played since Hanukkah break, so there's really nothing to recap there.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all so much for watching. Especially you, Zach Tuckman, our
Oh,
favorite.
and yes, Zach Tuckman, and 3 times, and inaugural flag football tryouts this Sunday.
Oh wow, very exciting. So I told you there's a new team, whether it's curling, flag football. Zach Tuckman is coaching first flag football. I'm gonna scan out here also. And have a good night.
Is he actually?
No.
No.
Oh.